The stars shone brightly over the distant planet of Zareph. Towering mountains made of blue crystal sparkled under the light of two suns. In the center of the largest city, a grand palace rose high above everything. Its golden towers gleamed, and strange alien symbols pulsed faintly on the walls. This was the home of Emperor Varkon, ruler of the entire planet, feared and respected by all. Inside the throne room, the air was thick with tension. Alien guards with glowing eyes and sharp armor stood at attention. Emperor Varkon sat on his enormous throne, his cloak flowing like liquid night. A deep, rumbling laugh echoed through the hall. "You can have all my planet if you tame that predator," Varkon said, pointing toward a massive steel cage at the far end of the room. Inside the cage, a creature moved almost too fast to see. Its skin shimmered like molten metal, and its eyes glowed bright red. Sharp claws scratched the floor, and its tail lashed violently. The predator growled, a sound that made the walls shake. Every alien in the room took a step back. The human boy, barely 12, stepped forward. His brown hair fell over his determined eyes. He looked at the predator, then at the emperor, and spoke calmly. "I'll do it," he said. A wave of laughter filled the room again. The emperor's voice boomed. "You? A human boy? You cannot even fight a small alien creature, let alone tame a monster like that." The boy's lips pressed into a thin line. He didn't answer. Instead, he studied the predator carefully. He noticed its movements, how it shifted its weight, and how it watched him. The emperor clapped his hands, and the guards unlocked the massive cage. The doors creaked as they opened, and the predator stepped out. It towered over the boy, its teeth sharp, its tail swinging like a whip. The human boy didn't back away. He took a deep breath and held out his hand slowly. "I'm not here to fight you," he said softly. The predator tilted its head, intrigued. It sniffed the air, watching the boy like a curious cat. The emperor's laughter stopped. He leaned forward, eyes wide. No one had ever seen a human act like this. Humans were small, weak and fragile. Yet this boy stood fearless in front of a creature that could crush him in seconds. The predator growled low in its throat and then, surprisingly, it lowered its head slightly, almost as if acknowledging the boy's courage. The human boy smiled faintly. "We can be friends," he whispered. For a moment, the room was completely silent. Even the guards held their breath. The alien emperor, shocked, could not hide his surprise. "Impossible," he muttered. "No human has ever tamed a Zarkan predator." The boy knelt slowly, making himself smaller, non-threatening. The predator sniffed him again, circling him carefully. Every eye in the throne room followed the scene, not daring to move. Finally, the predator took a cautious step forward. Its massive paw hovered near the boy's shoulder. The boy reached out his hand, trembling slightly but steady. He touched the creature's thick fur. The predator growled, then froze. It didn't attack. Emperor Varkon's jaw dropped. His entire court gasped. The human boy had done the impossible. The predator, the fiercest creature on the planet, seemed calm. You may be stronger than I thought," the emperor said slowly. "But this is only the beginning, human. If you want my planet, you must prove your courage again. The real challenge is not taming the creature here. It is surviving the trials of Zareph." The boy stood, holding the predator's gaze unafraid. "I'm ready," he said firmly. The emperor smiled, a strange mixture of amusement and caution. "Very well," he said. "Tomorrow your real test begins. But beware, human, many have tried before you, and none have returned alive." The boy turned to the predator, who now followed him quietly, almost like a loyal companion. The human boy and the predator walked out of the throne room, leaving the stunned emperor and his court behind. Outside, the alien city stretched endlessly. Flying vehicles zipped between towers, and strange creatures walked among the streets. But the human boy only focused on the path ahead. The trials of Zareph were unknown, dangerous, and deadly, but he knew one thing. He would face them and he would survive. For the first time in centuries, Emperor Varkon felt a shiver of uncertainty. Could a human boy really conquer the impossible? The predator growled softly, almost like it understood. The boy smiled faintly. "We're going to do this together," he said. And so began the adventure that would shake the entire planet of Zareph. The adventure that would test courage, intelligence, and the power of friendship between a human and a predator no one could tame, until now. The next morning, the sky above Zareph glowed orange and violet. Mist rolled over the crystal mountains, giving the landscape an eerie glow. The human boy and the predator stepped outside the palace gates. Below, the city stirred with activity. Flying vehicles zoomed past and alien merchants shouted in strange, musical voices. The boy's heart pounded, but he kept his focus. The predator walked silently beside him, massive paws making soft thuds on the ground. Together, they moved toward the arena of Zareph, the place where challengers faced the Emperor's trials. The arena was enormous. Its walls glimmered with alien metals, and strange energy lines ran along the ground, pulsing like veins of light. From above, the Emperor's throne loomed, watching. A hush fell over the crowd of aliens gathered to see the next human attempt. Many had come before, and many had failed. The boy's stomach twisted with nerves, but he squared his shoulders. "We can do this," he whispered to the predator. The creature's tail swished slowly, almost as if agreeing. A booming voice echoed through the arena. "Welcome, human. Face the trials of Zareph. Prove your worth or be lost forever." The first trial began immediately. The floor beneath the boy shifted, forming jagged rocks and deep pits. Floating platforms hovered in midair, moving unpredictably. The boy realized this was a test of agility and speed. He glanced at the predator, who leaped effortlessly across the gaps, its claws gripping the floating platforms with ease. The boy took a deep breath. He ran, jumped, and stretched to reach each platform. Some wobbled dangerously, others tilted under his weight. He almost fell several times, but the predator helped him, nudging him forward or blocking unstable platforms with its massive body. The audience gasped. Humans were weak, but this boy moved like a shadow, clever and fast. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Interesting," he muttered. "Perhaps he is not just fearless, but smart." When the boy reached the end of the first trial, a strange portal opened. A swirl of colors like liquid glass filled the space. He could hear distant roars and screeches from the other side. He didn't hesitate. He stepped through. The second trial began immediately. He found himself in a dark forest filled with glowing alien plants. Shadows moved, and strange eyes blinked in the distance. The predator growled low, and the boy felt the danger. Invisible traps were everywhere, spikes, nets, and creatures that attacked without warning. He ducked as a vine shot toward him like a whip. He jumped over a glowing pit, landing on moss that seemed to react to his weight. Every step required focus. Every breath could be his last. The predator moved beside him, its instincts protecting him from the deadliest threats. Suddenly, a creature lunged from the shadows, tall, thin, with translucent skin showing veins of blue light. Its claws reached for the boy, but the predator pounced, slamming into it with incredible force. The creature screamed and dissolved into sparks, vanishing instantly. The boy's heart raced. He realized that survival wasn't just about speed or strength, it was about trust. The predator wasn't just a companion, it was his shield, his partner. Together they moved deeper into the forest, facing more creatures, more traps, and challenges that tested every skill he had. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. Finally, they reached a clearing where the ground glowed faintly under the predator's paws. In the center, a massive crystal hovered above the ground. Energy pulsed from it, filling the clearing with warmth and light. The boy approached cautiously. He remembered the Emperor's words. "Many have tried, and none have returned alive." He understood now. The trials weren't just about fighting. They were about understanding the planet, respecting its dangers, and showing courage in the face of fear. The crystal began to rise slowly, spinning in midair. Holographic images projected from it, showing past challengers who had failed. Their faces twisted in fear, frozen in the moment of defeat. The boy swallowed hard but didn't turn back. "Stay close," he whispered to the predator. The creature growled, circling him protectively. The final test of this trial appeared, a massive energy gate, glowing with blinding light. Strange symbols floated around it, forming shapes the boy didn't understand. He felt a pull, as if the gate was testing his mind, not just his body. He stepped forward, feeling the energy hum through him. Images of the past challengers tried to scare him, whispering doubts. You cannot do this. You are weak. You will fail. But he didn't listen. He focused on the predator, on the trust between them. Step by step, he moved through the gate. The light surrounded him, then vanished. When he opened his eyes, he was in a new part of the arena. He had survived the first 2 trials. The predator nuzzled him, and for the first time, the boy allowed himself a small smile. From above, the emperor watched quietly. His laughter was gone. Something about this human boy unsettled him. Not fear, but respect. The boy didn't know what the next trial would bring, but he felt ready. The bond with the predator, the courage in his heart, and the determination to survive kept him moving forward. Whatever dangers awaited, he would face them. Together. And deep in the shadows, creatures that had waited for challengers to fail whispered among themselves. The trials were far from over, and the human boy's true test was only beginning. The human boy and the predator stepped out of the energy gate into an entirely new landscape. The air was cold and heavy, and the sky was dark, streaked with violet lightning that danced without thunder. Before them lay the labyrinth of shadows. A maze said to drive even the bravest challengers insane. Its walls were tall and black, shifting like liquid. The path ahead seemed endless, twisting and turning in impossible ways. The boy swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the challenge. Stay close, he whispered to the predator. The massive creature growled softly, brushing its tail against his legs for reassurance. The first steps into the labyrinth were quiet. The walls moved slowly, almost alive. Shadows stretched across the ground, forming shapes that looked like monstrous creatures. The boy's heart raced. He knew he had to keep calm. Fear here was dangerous. It could mislead him into traps or dead ends. Suddenly, a shadow lunged at him from the wall. It was quick, fast enough to almost hit him. The boy jumped back, narrowly avoiding sharp claws made of darkness. The predator roared and leaped, striking the shadow. It dissipated into a black mist, leaving a chilling silence behind. As they moved deeper, the maze grew more confusing. Paths twisted back on themselves, and walls appeared to close in. Strange whispers echoed around them. Turn back. You will fail. Humans are weak. The boy clenched his fists. He ignored the voices, focusing on the predator's movements. It led him steadily, sensing the safest path. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt strange here. Every corner held new dangers. Shifting floors, floating spikes, and shadow beasts that seemed to emerge from nowhere. One creature, taller than the boy's house, stretched its arms from the darkness, trying to grab him. The predator attacked, slashing it with sharp claws. The beast howled and vanished, leaving the boy trembling but alive. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The walls glowed with strange runes, and in the center floated a black crystal, pulsating like a heartbeat. The boy felt a chill run through him. He knew this was the heart of the labyrinth, the place where the trial would be decided. As he approached, shadows began to rise from the floor. They twisted into humanoid shapes, moving with frightening speed. The boy realized these were illusions designed to confuse and frighten him. He steadied his breathing, keeping his eyes on the crystal and the predator by his side. The shadows attacked, one after another, slashing and grabbing. The boy dodged, rolled, and jumped, learning quickly that brute force would not win here. He had to think. He studied their movements and noticed a pattern. Every attack came after a pause, a rhythm he could predict. Using the pattern, he moved carefully, avoiding each shadow. The predator roared, smashing the illusions with its massive paws. Together, they fought through the room, step by step. The boy felt a strange connection to the creature. They moved as one. Every dodge, every strike, every movement synchronized perfectly. When they finally reached the black crystal, it began to rise higher, spinning faster. A voice echoed in his mind. Only the clever and brave may pass. Show your courage, human. The boy looked at the predator. We can do this, he said. The predator nudged him toward the crystal. Summoning his courage, the boy reached out and touched it. Immediately, the labyrinth seemed to react. Walls shifted, shadows shrieked, and then silence. The crystal's pulse slowed, then stopped completely. A door appeared on the far side of the chamber, glowing with golden light. The boy stepped through, the predator following closely. Behind them, the labyrinth dissolved, leaving no trace of its twisted paths. Outside, the air was warm, and the sky was a peaceful orange. The boy let out a breath he didn't know he had been holding. The predator nudged him with its head, as if congratulating him. For the first time the boy smiled, feeling a sense of victory. But the triumph was brief. Far in the distance, the ground shook violently. Mountains split open, and enormous creatures emerged, taller than the palace itself. The boy's eyes widened. These were the next trial, the guardians of Zareph. They were said to be unstoppable, creatures of raw strength and power, meant to test courage and resilience like nothing else. The predator growled, its fur bristling. The boy's heart pounded. They had survived the labyrinth, outsmarted illusions, and faced deadly shadows. But these guardians were real. Every step closer made the earth tremble, and the ground beneath them cracked. The boy clenched his fists, feeling fear, but also determination. "We face them together," he said to the predator. The creature responded with a low growl, ready for the fight. From above, Emperor Varkon watched silently. The boy had survived the labyrinth, something no other human could do. But would he survive the guardians? The emperor leaned back, intrigued. For the first time he wondered, could this human boy truly earn all of Zareph? The first guardian roared, raising a massive arm, and the ground shook again. The human boy and the predator braced themselves. The real trial, the one that would decide their fate, was about to begin. The ground shook violently as the first guardian of Zareph stepped forward. Its skin shimmered like molten metal, and its eyes glowed with a fierce yellow light. Every step it took left deep cracks in the crystal floor. Towering over both the human boy and the predator, it exuded raw power and deadly intent. The boy's heart pounded, but he didn't back away. He looked at the predator. "Stay close. We can't fight them head-on," he whispered. The massive creature growled low, circling him protectively, its tail swiping the ground with controlled strength. The guardian roared, a sound so loud it made the air vibrate. It charged. The boy jumped to the side, narrowly avoiding the creature's massive claw, which smashed into the crystal floor and sent shards flying like dangerous projectiles. The predator lunged, slashing at the guardian's leg. Sparks flew, but the giant barely flinched. The boy knew they needed a plan. He quickly scanned the battlefield. Around the arena, floating platforms hovered, glowing faintly with energy. Perhaps they could use these platforms to gain higher ground and outmaneuver the guardian. "Follow me," the boy shouted, pointing to the nearest platform. The predator leaped effortlessly, landing on it with a thud. The boy jumped, gripping the edge, pulling himself up. The guardian roared in frustration and tried to reach them, but its massive arms couldn't match their speed. From above, the boy noticed another guardian emerging, even larger than the first, its skin a dark green metallic hue. He swallowed hard. Two of these beasts together could crush him in seconds. But the predator nudged him, urging him forward. Together, they moved from platform to platform, dodging the guardian's attacks while trying to find a weak spot. The boy spotted glowing veins running along the guardian's limbs, bright lines of energy that pulsed like the planet's heartbeat. "That's it," he shouted. "Aim for the glowing lines." The predator growled, understanding instantly. It leaped toward the nearest guardian, swiping at the glowing vein with deadly precision. Sparks flew, and the creature held in pain, staggering backward. The boy grabbed a shard of crystal from the broken floor, and threw it at the second guardian, aiming for its glowing veins. It screeched and stumbled, giving them just enough time to move closer. Together, boy and predator worked like a single unit. One distracting, the other attacking, always moving, never stopping. Hours seemed to pass. Every strike, every dodge, every careful movement brought them closer to victory. But the guardians were relentless, their strength nearly unmatched. One swipe sent the predator flying against a wall, and the boy barely caught himself, clutching the platform. "Hang on," he shouted, running toward his companion. The predator staggered but rose to its feet, eyes blazing with determination. They couldn't give up now. Too much was at stake. The boy realized something. This was not just about strength. The guardians relied on brute force. But speed, agility, and strategy could win the fight. He led the predator in a series of quick attacks, making the guardians stumble into one another. The giant beasts crashed into the arena walls, shaking the ground violently. Finally, the boy saw an opening. The first guardian had a large crack along its side from the earlier attacks. Now, he yelled. The predator lunged, striking the crack with full force. The guardian roared and staggered, then collapsed with a deafening crash. The second guardian turned, enraged. Its yellow eyes locked onto the boy, then the predator. It charged with even more speed. The boy dodged, luring the creature toward the edge of a platform. Timing it perfectly, he and the predator worked together. The guardian stumbled, teetered on the edge, and with a massive roar, fell into the abyss below. Silence returned to the arena. Dust and smoke filled the air. The boy's chest heaved as he looked at the predator. The massive creature nudged him, brushing against his leg, as if saying, "We did it." From above, Emperor Varkon watched quietly. No human, or even alien, had ever survived the guardians. His face, usually filled with amusement and pride, was now unreadable. The boy had done the impossible. He had tamed the predator, survived the labyrinth, and defeated the guardians. "You are remarkable," the emperor said finally, his deep voice echoing. "I underestimated you, human. But this is only the beginning. The final trial awaits, and it will test not just your strength, but your mind, your heart, and your will to survive." The boy felt a chill. He had faced monsters, illusions, and deadly traps. But the final trial? The unknown. It was frightening. Yet he didn't show fear. He looked at the predator, loyal and fierce, and smiled. "We can face anything together," he said. The predator growled in agreement. The arena doors opened slowly, revealing a swirling vortex of light, the gateway to the final trial. Beyond it, shadows moved, and strange sounds echoed like whispers in the wind. The boy stepped forward cautiously, the predator at his side, ready for whatever awaited them. As they disappeared into the light, the emperor leaned back, folding his arms. A rare smile appeared on his face. "Perhaps," he muttered, "this human may truly earn my planet." And far beyond, hidden in the dark corners of Zareph, creatures stirred, sensing a new force rising. The adventure was far from over. The true test, the one that would decide the fate of the human boy and the predator, was just beginning. The swirling vortex of light vanished behind the human boy and the predator as they stepped into the final trial chamber. The air was thick, and a strange hum filled the space, vibrating through their bones. The walls glowed faintly, covered in symbols that seemed alive, shifting constantly. This is different," the boy whispered, scanning the room. The predator growled low, ears pinned back. The chamber was enormous, taller than any palace tower, stretching endlessly in all directions. At the far end, a massive platform floated above a glowing abyss. On it rested an object that shimmered with bright light. It had to be the final goal. But as they took their first step forward, the ground beneath them shifted. Cracks appeared, glowing red with molten energy. The boy jumped back, gripping the predator's fur for balance. "It's a trap," he said. "We need to be careful." Suddenly, illusions appeared around them. Images of the emperor, the guardians, and even themselves. Voices whispered, taunting, "You will fail. You are weak. You cannot survive." The boy's hands shook slightly, but he forced himself to focus. "Ignore them," he whispered. The predator growled, circling him protectively. The first challenge of the final trial revealed itself. The floor began to split into hundreds of floating platforms. Each platform moved differently. Some tilted, others spun, and a few disappeared under weight. One wrong step, and they would fall into the glowing abyss below. The boy studied the patterns carefully. "Follow my lead," he said to the predator. Together, they began to leap from platform to platform. The predator's massive size made it harder to balance, but its instinct and agility were unmatched. Step by step, they moved forward, narrowly avoiding falling into the abyss multiple times. As they progressed, new dangers appeared. From the shadows, creatures formed from pure energy lunged at them, fast and unpredictable. The boy dodged, rolling and jumping, while the predator struck the energy beasts with swift, precise attacks. Sparks flew, lighting up the dark chamber. Hours, or maybe minutes, time felt strange here. passed in a tense blur. The boy's muscles ached, but he refused to stop. He realized the trial was testing not just courage or strength, but patience, focus, and intelligence. One careless move could end everything. Finally, they reached a section where the platforms formed a circle around a glowing orb floating mid-air. The orb pulsed like a heartbeat, casting bright shadows. The boy felt a pull in his chest. It wasn't just a puzzle of movement. This was a test of mind and heart. He noticed symbols on the platforms that matched the shifting symbols on the walls. Each symbol glowed faintly when touched by the predator's claws. Slowly, he pieced it together. The predator would trigger the correct sequence of platforms by stepping carefully. Step here, then there, he muttered, guiding the predator with hand signals and whispers. The creature followed perfectly, moving with surprising gentleness despite its size. Each platform lit up as the predator stepped, and the glowing orb pulsed brighter. Suddenly, the illusions returned, stronger than before. They formed terrifying shapes. Humans falling, monsters attacking, the Emperor laughing menacingly. The boy's mind wavered, but he steadied himself. He took a deep breath and focused on the predator. Together, they were stronger than any illusion, stronger than any fear. Step by step, platform by platform, they reached the center where the orb floated. The boy extended his hand. The predator nudged him, allowing him to reach the glowing object. As he touched it, a wave of energy shot through the chamber, dissolving all illusions, platforms, and shadows. The air cleared, leaving only the boy, the predator, and the orb glowing brightly in the center. A voice filled the chamber, deep, resonant, and powerful. Human, you have done what no other has. You have faced fear, danger, and uncertainty. You have shown courage, intelligence, and trust. You are worthy. The orb's light expanded, and the boy and predator felt a strange warmth fill them. They had completed the final trial. The chamber began to transform, revealing a breathtaking view of Zareph from above. The planet in all its glory, glowing under twin suns. Mountains, forests, cities, and oceans stretched endlessly. The boy's heart swelled with awe. Above them, the Emperor appeared, descending from the shadows. His expression was unreadable at first, but then a faint smile appeared. I was wrong, he said. Humans are more remarkable than I believed. You have earned what I promised, the entire planet of Zareph. But more importantly, you have earned respect, courage, and friendship beyond measure. The boy looked at the predator, who growled softly, as if sharing in the moment. We did it, he said, smiling. The predator nudged him with its massive head, a silent confirmation. The Emperor gestured, and the orb transformed into a radiant key, hovering above the boy's hand. This key grants you control over the planet, the Emperor said. But remember, true leadership is not about power alone. It is about wisdom, courage, and trust. Do not forget the lessons you learned in these trials. The boy nodded solemnly. He understood now that Zareph was more than a planet. It was a place of challenges, growth, and discovery. And he and the predator had proven themselves together. As the sun set over Zareph, the boy and the predator stood on the cliff overlooking the cities below. The wind blew through the crystalline mountains, carrying the scent of adventure and promise. They had survived the impossible, tamed the untamable, and earned the respect of an emperor. But in the distance, hidden in shadows, other challenges waited. Creatures stirred, civilizations watched, and mysteries of the planet remained unsolved. Their journey was far from over. Yet the human boy and his loyal predator were ready. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The human boy stood atop the highest cliff on Zareph, the golden key glowing faintly in his hand. The twin suns cast long shadows over the alien cities below, and the wind carried the soft hum of energy from the crystal mountains. Around him, the predator sat quietly, massive and watchful, eyes scanning the horizon for any threat. For the first time, the boy felt the weight of responsibility. He had earned the planet, yes, but a planet like Zareph was not just a prize. It was alive, dangerous, and full of secrets. Thousands of alien citizens looked to him now, waiting to see if their new ruler, a human, could lead them. The Emperor descended slowly from the sky, his flowing cloak shimmering. Remember, he said, voice calm but firm. Power is not given lightly. Leadership is more than bravery or cleverness. It is wisdom, patience, and understanding. You must earn the trust of those you rule. The boy nodded, taking a deep breath. I understand, he said. But where do I start? Observe, learn, and act carefully, the emperor replied. Zareph has allies and enemies. Some will test you. Some will try to manipulate you. Others will challenge your very claim. With that, the emperor vanished into the sky, leaving the boy alone with the predator. Their first challenge appeared almost immediately. Across the crystal plains, a massive storm approached, but it was no ordinary storm. Dark clouds twisted unnaturally, and bolts of violet lightning struck the ground, splitting rocks and sending waves of energy across the cities. People panicked, running for shelter. The boy clenched his fists. We need to protect the people, he said. The predator growled, ready to follow. Together, they raced down the cliffs, leaping across rooftops and hovering platforms, warning citizens and guiding them to safety. As they moved, the boy realized leadership was different from survival. He had faced life-or-death trials, but this was about responsibility. He had to act fast, think strategically, and ensure that his actions affected everyone positively. When they reached the center of the city, the source of the storm became clear. A rogue alien scientist had created a massive weather manipulator, intending to seize control of Zareph. The boy's eyes widened. He had defeated predators and guardians, but could he stop a weapon like this? The predator growled, sensing the danger. The boy quickly analyzed the device. It was powered by the same crystal energy that flowed throughout the planet. If he could disable the energy source, the storm would collapse. He climbed the massive machine, dodging energy bursts and swinging platforms. The predator followed, smashing through mechanical guards sent by the rogue scientist. Sparks flew, and the machine shook violently. The boy reached the main crystal core, and used the golden key to interface with it. The key glowed brightly, and the energy of the device began to destabilize. The scientist appeared furious. You think a human boy can stop me? Zareph is mine. He lunged toward the boy, wielding a weapon of pure energy. The boy dodged just in time, feeling the heat of the blast. The predator leaped, knocking the scientist backward, and giving the boy a chance to finish destabilizing the core. With a massive surge, the crystal exploded in controlled energy, sending the storm collapsing and dissipating. The city was safe. The citizens cheered, and the boy realized this was leadership. Protecting lives, making tough decisions, and trusting his instincts. As the dust settled, the boy looked at the predator. We're learning, aren't we? He said. The predator nudged him gently, and they shared a silent understanding. Together, they could face anything. But even as they celebrated, far in the shadows, eyes watched. Not all of Zareph's citizens were happy with a human boy as their ruler. Some plotted, whispering of rebellion, betrayal, and secret alliances. The boy's victories had earned him respect, but also enemies. The emperor had warned him. Leadership was more than courage. It was wisdom, patience, and the ability to foresee threats. The boy knew that trials were not over. The real challenge wasn't surviving creatures or dangerous trials. It was maintaining trust, making hard decisions, and proving himself worthy every day. That night, the boy stood on the cliff again, looking over the glowing cities. The predator sat at his side, a silent guardian. We've survived the impossible, the boy whispered. But now we must survive the politics of a planet. Above, the twin suns set, casting long shadows. Zareph was peaceful for now, but the boy understood one truth. Leadership was its own kind of trial, and the challenges ahead would test not just his strength, but his heart. And somewhere, hidden among the mountains and forests, enemies stirred. Zareph had been conquered in body, but could it be conquered in mind and spirit? The boy and his predator would soon find out. The human boy stood on the balcony of Zareph's palace, overlooking the cities glowing under the twin moons. The air was calm, almost peaceful, but he knew better. Leadership was never quiet. He had faced impossible creatures, deadly trials, and raging storms. Now the real challenge awaited. Keeping Zareph united and safe. The predator rested beside him, massive and alert. Its eyes scanned the horizon, sensing every movement. The bond between them had grown stronger with every trial. They were more than companions now. They were partners, a single force of courage, intelligence, and instinct. In the palace below, whispers began to spread. Some citizens questioned the boy's right to rule. Others admired him, inspired by his courage and victories. But in the shadows, enemies plotted. A secret alliance of aliens, resentful of the boy's human leadership, had begun gathering forces. Their plan was simple: seize the throne, overthrow the boy, and reclaim power by force. The boy's brow furrowed. He had survived monsters, labyrinths, and deadly trials. Could he survive this? He knew brute strength alone would not work. He needed strategy, wisdom, and trust. The first attack came at dawn. Strange energy pulses rocked the city, and armed ships descended from the sky. Citizens panicked, and chaos spread. The boy didn't hesitate. He called upon the city's defenders, giving clear instructions. With the predator by his side, he led the counterattack, using intelligence over raw force. They lured the enemy into traps, collapsed bridges, and blocked energy channels, cutting off reinforcements. The predator moved like a shadow, striking with precision, protecting the boy and citizens alike. Every move the boy made was calculated, ensuring minimal risk to the people. Finally, the enemy leader appeared, a towering figure clad in dark energy armor. He wielded a staff capable of channeling Zareph's crystal energy, powerful enough to destroy buildings. The boy's heart pounded, but he didn't show fear. "You think a human can rule this planet?" the enemy sneered. "Zareph belongs to us." The boy took a deep breath. "I don't just rule by strength," he said. "I rule by courage, by wisdom, and by protecting those who cannot protect themselves. That is true power." The enemy attacked, sending blasts of energy toward the boy. He dodged, leaping over debris, while the predator lunged, knocking the staff from the enemy's hands. Sparks flew as metal clashed against crystal. The boy grabbed the fallen staff, feeling its energy pulse under his hands. He realized that Zareph's power could not be used for selfishness. It had to be controlled wisely. With precise strikes, careful strategy, and the predator's unstoppable strength, they overcame the enemy. The invaders fled, defeated. The boy stood victorious, but he knew the fight wasn't just physical. It was about loyalty, respect, and trust. The citizens cheered. From the palace towers to the streets, Zareph celebrated their new ruler. Not as a conqueror, but as a protector. The human boy had earned their hearts, their trust, and their loyalty. The emperor appeared one final time, descending from the sky in a gentle glow. "You have done more than I imagined," he said. "You have survived trials, tamed a predator, defeated impossible foes, and earned the love and respect of Zareph. You are a true ruler, human. Not because of strength alone, but because of your heart." The boy smiled, holding the predator's massive paw in his hand. "We did it," he said softly. The predator nudged him, growling in agreement. From that day forward, the human boy ruled Zareph wisely, with courage and compassion. The planet flourished under his guidance. The predator, once untamable, became a symbol of loyalty, courage, and unity. Together, they faced challenges, solved mysteries, and protected the planet from any threat. The twin suns set behind the crystal mountains, casting long shadows across cities and forests. The boy stood on the highest peak, looking over the world he had earned. Feeling the pulse of Zareph beneath him, he understood something important. Power was not about fear or domination. It was about responsibility, trust, and protecting those who could not protect themselves. And so, the human boy and his predator became legends. Stories spread across galaxies about the courage of a human, the loyalty of a predator, and the rise of a true ruler on the distant, crystal planet of Zareph. The adventure had begun as a test, a challenge of survival and courage. But it became something greater, a story of friendship, wisdom, and the true meaning of leadership. And somewhere in the shadows, new mysteries waited, new challenges brewed, and new adventures called. But for now, Zareph was safe, and its people looked toward a future of hope, courage, and unity under the human boy and his legendary predator.